This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Recorded.
Hi, everybody. So happy to be together. Actually, this morning I was on a three-way conference call. One person was having a lot of challenges in their workplace, and my very sweet friend was translating it to this other person, and she actually requested to say it over again today for Torah Anytime. And in a way, it has a lot to do with what I experienced this week. So I'm going to share with you something that has really helped me and changed my life in such an amazing way that I hope it will help you in your own, relationships. Just this week, I was hearing a story of a woman who, was about to be engaged to someone, and during the engagement, all of a sudden he tripped and fell, and they did tests, and they found out that he had like this very rare disease. And the doctor said maybe 2 years of, life. She herself still decided to go forward with the marriage. She said, even if I only have 2 years with you, I can't leave your side. I love you so much. They actually had children during those few years, and year after year, he wasn't passing away, but his ailment was getting worse and worse, more and more difficult, till he was confined to a wheelchair, until he couldn't even feed himself, and even to a point of not being able to speak. And this was, again, not just 2 more years, and more years, and more years. And as the children were multiplying, and she couldn't be his caretaker, she said, I have to hire, help. I just can't. And around the same time, she was taking some lessons, and through one person or another, this person was willing to volunteer to help a little extra hours. It was like a miracle. And you need someone very strong, and to be able to pick the person up. And to make a whole long story short, she really sacrificed a lot in her life, but it was getting to her. She was getting more bitter. She was getting more frazzled. She was getting more disappointed in the challenges of her life, and especially when her husband lost his voice, it was just even that more challenging. And after a few more years, there was this new technology that through a computer that they could, he had a little hand movement, and he could type away, and through the typing, it would become a voice through this computer thing. And the person who was trained to help this man was very sweet, was very cutesy and fun-loving with him. And all the while, she had become a bitter person, and broken and beaten from all the years of just, trauma and heartache of going through surgeries with him, and another surgery, and another this, and another that. And in comes this fresh, young-looking woman that's treating him so nicely and treating him so wonderfully. And I was shocked when I heard that this man then, kind of paraplegic, in a wheelchair, started to become so kind of chatting away with this other woman, and becoming more and more friendly to this other woman, after all the years of self-sacrifice, after all the effort and energy of her hard work of being by his side and marrying him even with his disease. And I don't know, when I heard this story, it just like crushed me. Like I just felt so like this open wound of like empathy for her story. Like it just hurt me so much. Like that she did so much, and in a blink of an eye, because she's human, and it was heavy for her, and it was hard for her, and she closed herself up and became a bit bitter, and became less patient, and became less endearing. As soon as this other person has a little attention from somebody else, fresh, new interest in a friendship of a sort, who knows where, that this could happen. Just, it was like mind-boggling and heart-wrenching. And honestly, I hear these stories day in and day out. Like many times 6 to 7, 8 new people on the hotline calling, and hearing their stories, and it's just like another one of those stories.
What's the name of the hotline?
Oh yeah, so people who have, maybe other people that you know may need to call the hotline. It's from Sparks, where people get free, counseling for postpartum depression or hormonal issues. It's for women's needs. The phone number. Okay, why not? Let me get it for you. And on this hotline, it's the same number. You can press 1, and there's more of my classes, like some on anxiety, some on sleep, some on bonding and relationships. And if you dial 3, that's for getting a counselor. Now, I work there on Mondays and Tuesdays. So the number is 718-277-2757. So I'm thinking deeply, about my own life, about my own challenges sometimes with a lot of different challenges, and how I myself was prone to being in my own cave, being in my own world, and trying my hardest to be present and to be giving and to be loving, and not let whatever is going on around me steal me away from being able to interact with everybody else that kind of needs my attention and needs my love and needs my care. And so we're back into the car right now, and this is another story that happened with this person who was having a lot of difficulties with his co-worker. And there's a lot of bitterness, a lot of different challenges, and this is what I shared, and this is what someone asked me to share, and it's very connected, because when we first of all safeguard ourselves and be really aware, fully aware in the moment, that if I'm going through these struggles and I'm hiding in my own cave of bitterment, embittered state, disgust, anger, sadness, whatever, then there's these energies that are being created. My thoughts create angels, just like my good deeds create angels. My mitzvah of candle lighting creates this aura of energy, these angels, as it were. So if you're having a challenge with a person and you are ruminating and thinking, I can't believe I have to go through this. I can't believe that it's such a miserable, like experience that they're putting me through. They're so difficult, and on and on and on and on. Then that creates negative energies. And that actually hovers around you. So that when a person is then going to interact with you, they're picking up on this energy. Even if you're the number one actress and showing them that you're okay and you are loving and you are sweet, but if internally you are on like getting eaten up by it, then that is a soulful, negative, energy around you that the other person and their holy energies pick up. So their angels are meeting up with your angels, just like the story of Yaakov and the angels. You know, remember the wrestling of it was actually Esav's angel trying to topple him down in the wee hours of the night. So we create these angels by our thoughts. And if we have negative thoughts about the other, then the other person's angels are interacting with our negative angels that we created from our not good thoughts. And then there's a repulsion. They're repulsed. They get repulsed. And they might not know why. So that if you try to get close to them, they're like, you could sense that they're cold, distant. You could sense that they're not interested. So we all have had not good thoughts about people that have betrayed us or didn't act nicely to us or, rejected us and what have you. The list goes on. And if it's a very important figure in our life that we have to be involved in, it's not like we can run away from them, then we can do tshuva over our not good thoughts about them. And that has the power to melt away the negative energies that are coming between the two. Now, this I learned from Rabbi Leibel Wolf in his class on, I think it was dreams, angels, and I remember when I first heard that class of his, it changed my life because I hadn't realized, that I have yet work to do to purify the inner me. I was so not proud, but you know what? I've been controlling my anger. I've been controlling the way I speak. I'm, I have another level to work on, to really help me bond and connect to the different people in my lives that weren't so easy to get along with. And we have seen this in recent scientific studies, that power of our mind and what our mind can accomplish. Just a quick repeat of a study that was done with 2 sets of rats that were the same set of rats. And one group was told by the trainers, this set of rats that you have are genius rats. And this set of rats, the other group was told, are retarded rats. They were the same rats. But the thought processes of the trainer affected the results of their outcome of being able to learn how to do the maze in, X amount of time. So the retarded one was below average, but they weren't really retarded. That's the results they got. And the results of the genius rats were genius. They really learned the maze very well and quickly compared to the average rat. So, many studies. There's Dr. Bradley and other scientists and different books that I've read. Like I remember one case was a dish of with cells, and they had positive thoughts that it was growing and multiplying, and it would grow and multiply like beyond the normal speed. And then they said negative thoughts like, oh my gosh, it's so sickly, look, it's like not even growing, it's dying. And those cells died and didn't multiply in the petri dish. So many different studies out there that our thoughts have such a power. My husband always liked to talk about the study with waves and lights. If you think that the light is a wave, like that it'll go in, and bounce and go up and down, then the end result was that it did show up as a wave. And they said and then it would tell them this light is linear. It's not, and it would come out as a light, a straight light, and not with waves. Even in halachic places like regarding this dispute between two sects of rabbis. One were saying that, Pesach is coming, right, that you can't have this type of food given to the chickens because it'll turn into chametz in the esophagus of the chickens, like because the X amount of time needs to leave the body, and since it typically gets stuck in the throat, and another group of rabbis says no, it doesn't. So they decide, let's open up the chickens and let's see. So the group that believe that it doesn't become chametz, their chickens, none of them had like that kind of experience of it getting stuck in the throat. And the chickens that the group of people thought that it gets stuck in the throat and it could become chametz, that they did find that it was stuck in the throat or the esophagus or where it is. I'm not a butcher, I don't know exactly the place, but the idea was that the way they thought about it made the outcome exactly the way they thought. Because thoughts have such a power.
They have such power over our children.
And yes, so that's why I highly, suggest when the Lubavitcher Rebbe would say, spend 30 minutes on your children thinking of the chinuch, of like how you're going to raise them, and not just raise them like a chicken, like running from here to there and there and there and like just doing whatever. Part of that 30 minutes could be, let's meditate on and think positively and think about their good qualities and bring out that positivity in them by us thinking about it. And even if it's barely there, like make more of it in your mind about this quality that they have, and it'll affect their closeness to you. Because you're creating these like angels that are so positive and that so love them and so think highly of them and so think good about them, that it literally affects their willingness and their ability to feel more comfortable in your presence. Feel more willing to please you. Because they feel your warmth, they feel your love, and they want to make more steps toward you. And not only with our thoughts. I was telling this person, I'm sure he could not believe I was saying this, and I even think the translator who was translating could not believe, did I hear you right? I said, because this one coworker was having a lot of trouble with, and just a lot of animosity, a lot of, imagine every day having to go to work and someone's so mean to you. It's one thing your husband is mean to you, but he comes home in the evening, but all day long, So the idea comes from a sikha of the Rebbe regarding Yosef HaTzadik, that he was nice, extra nice, to his brothers that wanted to kill him. Like, what? Like, okay, that's a tzaddik could do it. But the Rebbe actually says, not only can we emulate Yosef HaTzadik, who did such acts of kindness to the ones that did such not good things, he accepted it, that it was from Hashem, and he really went the extra mile. Give them the best of land, give them the best of, everything. So I said to this person, be extra nice. Maybe if you have an extra mishlach manat, bring it to him. Maybe give an extra smile and a kind word. Soften up. They will soften up. And the famous teaching is, if you look in a lake and you're smiling, what will you see back? A smile. Now, does it always happen right away? No. Not right away sometimes, unfortunately. But just like Rabbi Akiva, and the little drop, and the little drop, and the little drop that finally made the dent in that very hard rock, a little smile here, a little nice word there, a little softness, a little 10 minutes of thinking of their wonderful qualities that I have to really search with the big torch, I can't find it, but I'll try. And I will try my best to believe that if God created this creature, there definitely has to be something good hidden. I have to just search a little harder. And then imagine that it's beginning to blossom through your good thoughts, through your prayers for them, through your compassion. How many times I tell people, if a drunk person curses you or does something that is displeasing to you, you handle it, it's a drunk person. Yeah, it's like, okay, poor guy, hope he sobers up. So try your best to have compassion on them, that they're stuck, that they don't have the tools to have had the knowledge or the wherewithal, the whatever that you got, and you were able to work yourself to the place you are today, that they just never got it. Then you have this huge shield, so when their arrows come shooting down at you, it just bing, like bounces off this thick shield of protection. There was this call I got, and I guess it's my way of helping them, but there's a book by Shlomo Rabashkin, who is in jail, and they're doing it as a fundraiser for his campaign. He wrote a book in jail, and it's called In Prison, Not Imprisoned. Mm-hmm. You might feel that the situation is like you're in jail, and it feels like you're like stuck with it, but don't let it imprison you. Take the steps necessary to protect yourself. If you need to make a certain form of borders, and don't let it just get you so enmeshed in their, negativity that you end up, squandering all the beautiful, holy aspects of who you really are. So imagine now that we learn in Tanya that there are like different ways to connect to Hashem. And God gave us certain beautiful capabilities. He gave us a heart that has in its trait, like inborn natural character trait of this heart is the capability to love Hashem. And when we do the things that we do, like it's beautiful that we access this inborn natural trait. And when we do it, it's like amazing. Wow. Like I'm doing something that many people maybe not be doing. Meaning I chose to continue practicing my religious practices. And I'm doing it with my heart. I'm doing it with my feeling. And that's a great thing. But there's a higher level of a type of feeling of love and feeling of awe of Hashem that doesn't just come from our cruise control, as it were, natural instinct that God gave us. We now make a greater and bigger effort to do it with our intellectually generated love and fear of Hashem. Not cruise control. Like with mindfulness, like with really thinking it through. If the Rebbe says that we can be like Yosef HaTzadik, my brain now knows it. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to generate now this drive in me and this understanding and this faith and trust that if God says I could do it, I could do it. With this determination from an intellectual perspective that's going to then give birth to an intellectually generated love of Hashem. Like, because I love Hashem now with this mind of mine, with understanding, with intellect, I'm going to be able to do this mitzvah of Ahavas Yisrael, of loving a fellow Jew, how much more so if it's a family member, with this kind of mindset. It's going to be so different. Before, a person could have this idea of, why me? How much more can I take of this? It's driving me crazy. This is too much. I'm drowning. And all these ruminations and negative. And all the while, you're creating more and more bad angels. All the while, creating such a friction between the two, when you could have used your mind to bless them, pray for them, have compassion on them, and build bridges that your heart will reach their heart. Either you're going to throw more dirt on someone and it's going to be that much harder for them to get out of their ditch, or you can build for them a longer rope for them to try to make it out of their ditch. And you only have so much time in the day. And you have only so much energy to help yourself in this really trying situation with that person. In the end, you benefit. Because when they're nicer to you, you feel better. You don't have another, drama in your life that you don't need. So it's kind of also for selfish reasons, but for a good reason. But it really does, help them get to a better place. Again, don't forget the tshuva. The tshuva is a very important part of it, because if you don't do tshuva over the past negative thoughts and ruminations that you had over them, they still exist. And like, poof, they will melt away by doing that tshuva. So here is a beautiful teaching that, when we are on cruise control with the gifts that God gave us of love and Yirat Hashem, our mitzvahs reach a very wonderful place up in Shamayim, where the angels of emotions are, the station up there. But when we use our intellect in our serving Hashem, including using our intellect to think good about other people, then our mitzvahs goes to where the intellectually generated angels are in a higher world. And that means, just like the difference between like a little like drizzle on a very parched, dry land, and the difference between a lot of rain. So when our mitzvahs reach a higher world, then a higher level of rain, of like godly blessings rain down on us, so that we will see more fruits of our labor. And it's so beautifully written here. I want to say to you that generally speaking, only on Shabbos and on like the new moon, Rosh Chodesh, and during holidays do our mitzvahs get to ascend to a higher and higher ground, or station up in Shamayim. When we just kind of robotically cruise control type of engagement with Torah mitzvahs. But when we use our intellect and we meditate and we contemplate on Hashem's greatness and we think about these things and how we're going to do our mitzvah with such, intellectually minded mindset, then we don't have to wait till Rosh Chodesh or Shabbat or a holiday for our mitzvahs to ascend to such a high place. And when this highest place, it says, it's like the higher Gan Eden, our mitzvahs become a pillar, and our soul then ascends to these higher worlds, and there they delight in Hashem, and they bask in the radiance of the Shekhinah. And this is a type of delight that comes from understanding and the appreciation that the mind has acquired from using the mind in this holy and godly way. So whatever the mind, the intellect conceives and understands and knows, meaning that correspond to our chokhmah, our bina, and das, our intellectual faculties, then the more this development of this delight and pleasure that we will experience from our understanding, which typically, we're taught that there's different levels of delight in the world. Like the base one is like food, and then there's music. People get pleasure from music, and it's a little loftier. And then there's knowledge. You get that type of pleasure from knowing things. So how much more so from knowing God's ways, from our understanding what we can do down here to make the world a better place, or that person to be less rigid, less toxic. So these souls then are privileged to rise occasionally to these higher worlds where the higher angels reside. And the Alter Rebbe compares it to the difference between animals and a human being. Animals naturally, instinctually behave a certain way. So they're animals. Man has free choice. He has an intellect to think things through, to decide, to contemplate, and then make a decision. So when we serve God with the natural instincts, it's like we're serving God like an animal. But when we use our mind in serving Hashem, and not just do robotically everything we have to do during the day, and not really engage our mind in it, not attach our mind at the moment while doing that mitzvah, and really like feeling the moment and really contemplating that you're attaching yourself to Hashem, that you're literally creating this pillar that allows your soul every night to ascend through all that you do. And then you serve Hashem like a man / woman. / woman. So even though a person can be serving Hashem with love and fear, but it's coming from the natural instinct, not intellectual, their service, even though it's higher than an angel, because an angel doesn't have free choice, because the angels are a creature of compulsive instinct, even it's a holy instinct, but since we are more than angels, that's why we can go higher and higher and closer to Hashem. And depending on how we use our mind in getting closer to Hashem, how far we will go. So with that, I hopefully inspire you to use your mind in many different ways. Pray, meditate, learn, meditate. Meditate with your mind on people, bringing out their good qualities. Use your mind to be creative in how to be like Yosef HaTzadik and bring goodness to people who are even not so nice to you. How many more smiles can you give them? Maybe a tap on their shoulders with a compassionate look in your eye, even though they were just abrupt with you. I cannot tell you how many stories in my personal life that I use this, and I think it's at least 10 times in some other video somewhere. But it really is good. It really makes a difference on the other people. And every time I share this with a client or someone who's having a challenge, I say, please get back to me when the miracle happens. And sometimes it's a week later. Sometimes it's a month later, and they're like blown away. They cannot believe this harsh, demanding, mean person could just soften up like that or get closer to them. It's like, wow. Sometimes it takes a little longer than that, but they see a little something changing. A little something. So my dear soul sisters, we are getting there. It's happening. Let's take a moment and... recently I was actually in a class that one of my students was doing a meditation, and I was so amazed because she was doing the meditation that I was doing in my class. And I was like, oh my gosh, I stopped doing these, the actual physical exercises of the body in meditation. And it reminded me, to get back to it. So I was like, you give someone a gift and then give it back to you. So I'm happy to start this over again because it's something that really does help relax the body so that the mind can be in an altered state, because when the body is more relaxed, the mind can be more relaxed, and then it's easier for the knowledge to kind of sink in. I read some of these exercises from the Sphincter Muscle book by Paula Garbo, I think. Amazing. The whole book is just about these different exercises and how it really helps you sleep better, this better, all kinds of things, like remedies. I remember I was having severe allergy attacks, and I was doing some of her recommendations, and it really did help.
Like what?
We'll do it now. So at first I actually stopped doing it because we were doing Torah Anytime, and I thought, oh, people would think it might be like me doing it and showing it on film, I don't know. And so I stopped doing it, but then I'm like, no, we should do it because it'll help people. And so, Baruch Hashem. So, you can close your eyes, and with every breath you take, you just hear yourself breathe. And really be mindful of your breathing. Even pay attention to the sound that is coming inwardly. It's like this is the neshama, from the nishima, from your breath. You get like reinvigorated. And in the same time, very relaxed. And while you're taking these deep breaths, we will start with our eyes, and we will close our eyes, and then tighten our eyes, and then untighten our eyes, so that you can feel the difference between the relaxed state and the tense state of your eyes. And then when you untense and release, feel the tension leave you. This is very good for digestion as well. And then, with every breath you take while doing this, squeeze all parts of your facial muscles, your cheeks, your lips, your eyes, your forehead. And in a count of 3, let go slowly and relax. And tighten it, and slowly, count of 3, let go and release, and feel the difference. And you take a deep breath, and then you're going to focus on your neck and your shoulders. You can lift your shoulders up, really tighten and put your head down. And then slowly, slowly, slowly drop them and release the tension. And again, tense it up, put your head down. And as I am always saying, remember we were doing this for so many years, just feel humble. When you do these movements, connect it to very holy thoughts. This is the tensing up and lowering my neck is my willingness to be humble to Hashem. And then move your head to the right and move your head to the left. So calming. And make a half a circle to the right and a half a circle to the left. And a very deep breath. And then hold your stomach in. Tighten it as much as possible. And again, kind of lean forward. And with every breath you take, release as you release the air and your breath. Again, tighten all your muscles, your sphincter muscles in your stomach, and slowly release. And then just really feel a wave of relaxation moving throughout your body as you're going through each body part. And then tighten your fists and release it slowly. And again, tighten it in a count of 3. And slowly release. Taking a deep breath, and then tighten your yashvan in Hebrew, your buttocks, all the lower parts of your back and your upper part of your thigh. Just tighten it up and release. Feel the difference between the tension and the relaxation. And then again, one more time. And relax. And then both feet, tighten up your toe muscles, crunch them, and in a count of 3, slowly let go. And again, one more time, tighten and release. And with every breath you take, all that tension really is invited to leave. Not to linger in your body, and you're just letting go. And then, now your body is so comfortable, so relaxed. And now you're going to think about what we just learned today about using your mind, being proactive in thinking goodness about another. And right now, especially someone that has not been so easy to be connected to. Someone that's been a little difficult, or someone that you just want to get closer to, but they have not been receptive. Take a moment and really do an accounting of where have you used your thoughts in a negative way, and do the tshuva. Ask Hashem for forgiveness that you didn't know better at the time. You really want to clear your heart and your mind and away from this negative energy, from this klipa that may be lingering. And then, feel the weight of the world dropping from your heart and your mind. Just, wow, such a release. Because Hashem forgives you. He knows you didn't know better. And then see a vision of yourself approaching that person, totally transformed. Because you now have a different mindset. You really feel compassionate toward that person. And you're spending time, every step forward to that person, you're spending time trying to find the good in them. Trying to find something. And if not, they're a creation of Hashem. And that's reason enough. To honor, to love, to respect, to treat with dignity, whether they deserve it or not by their behavior. But they're a creation of Hashem, and that's between you and Hashem, and how you use your body in a good way. That's going to be a merit to you, and a merit to them, and then back to a merit to you. Because your life will be so much easier. You'll have less drama and less toxic energies from this interchange. And every step closer to that person, you see them transforming as you think positively, as you really work away from the negative thoughts and plant the seeds of positive thoughts. And you see a miracle unfolding before your very eye. I mean, they are changing. And it's so exciting. This miracle right before your very eye. Everything you always wanted is coming true. They're nicer to you, softer to you, respect you more. And then again, just visualize harmony, beauty, unfolding more and more from this very vision. Take the time, pray to Hashem, please help me do this every day. Think about either my child, my spouse, my in-law, my whatever, my mother, my father, whoever it is, in a good way. And pray to Hashem that He help you actualize this vision into a real reality. It's amazing. And you begin to feel your hands, the hands that wants to be so giving, so ready to love, to embrace, the feet that want to go forward, determined to not let other people's negativity crumble you. The kind eyes, the soft touch, the sweet words, the body language that says, I'm handling this. Oh, wow. Just in time. Things are happening. And you're shining through it all by smiling. God bless you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you, Torah Anytime, for allowing this to go wherever it needs to go. I hope directly into your heart. Bye. Bye-bye.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.